Hello, hello. All right, so guys, my goodness. All right, so we're gonna get started and we're gonna talk about some things that really make me livid these days. And it's interesting because, you know, throughout the years we've never had this COVID experience. And now that we have, and we have the relationships that we do, and people, who know me know exactly what I'm talking about. You know that, there are already things that are issues, that are problems, like happens in life, you can't, I may be a stickler when it comes to the IEP. I'm going to introduce myself in just a second. I may be a stickler when it comes to the IEP and holding those accountable. And sometimes it's not always about one or two people or five people. It's the people that are to do what is necessary to uphold that IEP. Okay? And so you can't name names with that. You gotta just keep it unpersonal, and you have to just keep it to the point, right? So anyway, long story short, I am frustrated. Frustrated isn't the word. Livid. Livid is the word. And we're going to talk about this because I have issues and I need you to hear my issues. I'm wondering, do you guys have these same issues? Maybe, maybe not. Am I just crazy? Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Raven Woods. I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks the IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. I truly, truly do. Am I like other, someone asked me, or told me this once, I am not like other advocates. And I like that. We all need to be our own individualized selves, right? And everybody handles things differently. Kind of like if you go and you shop for a lawyer, right? You go to a lawyer and, I've had, when I went through a divorce many, many, many years ago, over a decade and some, there's, I interviewed lawyers. You have lawyers that are more reserved and so on and so forth. And then you have your lawyers that are just bam, gusto, right? To the point. They may not have that great bedside so-called speak manner, but boy, are they great in the courtroom, right? So I kind of look at myself like that, but I have a little bit better bedside manner because I get it. I've been there, I've done that, and boy, is the compassion there because I have personally been there and then some. So for those of you who don't know me, that's who I am. And I want you guys to feel welcome here on this page. I want you to like this page. I mean, obviously this page is more, I post, content and I go live, but the group is really where it all happens. So if you're not members of the group, it is a private group. It's Autism Mama Rocks IEP group. You can put that in the search bar. Right after this, I am hopping over there and I am going to be doing a Q&A. All right. So because I had surgery recently, I'm doing a Q&A in the day-ish hours versus the night-ish hours. And unfortunately, I've had a complication. So I go back into surgery on Friday. So that's not going to be fun at all. Okay. So, and I think I explained all that in my last live. But we'll go into that later. I want to talk about what makes me livid. I really want to talk about this. So if you guys are new, okay, and you're catching me live first through third time, stick with me. I'm not really crazy. Well, okay, I'm crazy. I am crazy. I'm crazy. But you're gonna like me, I promise, because I care. And I care so much because I want your child to be successful, and I will do whatever it takes to make that happen. Is it always a one and done? No. But does it get done and happen and in a good amount of time versus you wasting years, 6.5 personally, that I can feel okay about now because my daughter's making progress. But that was not the case at all. Okay. For 6.5 years, I wasted a lot of time, all right, because of not knowing. And so if it's your first through third time, post a 1 below. I want to know who you are. I want to say hi to you. I will reach out to you and just say hi. That's it. Just hi. And like I said, you're welcome to join the group if you want to. And that's just put in the search bar, Autism Mama Rocks IEP group. Okay? So with that said, hey, Erin, Michelle, Jessica. Thanks, Jess. Kelly and Marina, welcome, guys. These are all my oldies but goodies. So make sure you post a 1 below if you're new. It's your first through third time. I want to get to know you. Okay? And don't forget, right after this, I'm going live over in the group for a Q&A, 30 minutes-ish. And then I got to feed my kid. Okay, who else is like at that right now? So that's the kind of dilemma I'm in when I have to go live earlier. But hopefully it's a good time for you guys and you can catch me. And I know a lot of my West Coasters, it's probably a good time. Y'all are just getting off the computer or something, right, with the kids. All right, so real quick, I am on the East Coast. I'm in Virginia. And you want to know what's crazy? Today, I had to go get a COVID test, my third in like 2 months. And I had to, I sat there for 3 hours because I had to have the results today. And as I'm sitting there, of course, I'm scrolling on my phone. I'm calling my clients. I'm talking to them. You know, we had to reschedule all the IEPs, 8 to be exact, for November. And, you know, so it was kind of a cluster mess. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. And then I get this notification. Guess what? Virginia schools are now closed because there were 30 new cases. 30. That's really not a lot of cases, but you know, whatever. I can understand if it got into the school system, it just would wipe it out, and that would not be good at all. So, I get that. I respect that. I have no problems with that. I have a problem with, you know, virtual learning, but I don't blame why that's happening, if that makes sense. Okay. So, with talking to clients and having to reschedule IEP meetings and dealing with all the school systems and going back and forth on dates, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. Just kidding. So with that said, I'm going to talk about all the stuff that I'm really frustrated about. The first thing I'm really frustrated, and I want you guys to post below if you guys are feeling this at all, okay? Make sure you share. You guys know what to do. I am going to start in November. I'm going to put it together. I promise, guys, okay? I had surgery in September 15th, and then this month I'm having surgery, so I promise I'm going to put September, October, and November together for those who share, for those who don't know what I'm talking about. If you share, I gather your names, I put them in my hat, and then I give out gifts like Amazon gift cards and all that kind of stuff. Who took advantage of Prime Day today? I haven't really been on yet. Okay, I did get that Circle Alexa thingy. I don't know if it was like 23 bucks. It was really cheap. So I'm going to put the names in a hat in November, and I'm going to do a big Black Friday blast off. Okay, so that means instead of 3 people winning, 10 people are going to win. I'm going to add it. So instead of 9, 3 each month, I'm going to make it 10. So there will be 10 people who win the great big Black Friday gifts. So make sure you share, all right? Because I do go back, or my assistant will go back, and she'll take all the names for me. Okay, so it's never like, don't ever think, because typically my assistant does it. So just know that it's not oh, I like you better than you. It's never like that with me. Okay, because I have really good relationships with all of my clients and I love them all. And I don't do that pick and choosy thing. I don't do that. All right. So with that said, my first pet peeve that really is making me livid is the fact that school systems are coming back with, if you're asking for your child's full scholastic record, all right, and all the things that I ask for, a lot of times they'll come back and say that, oh, you can come and view it at any time. Okay, well, that is typically what they can do. Now, school systems that are nice will just give you the darn records, whether it be physically or an email. I always ask for it in email because then you can put it in a nice, folder or drive or Dropbox or whatever. here's the thing is right now, because of COVID, FERPA has put out a PowerPoint and other messages stating that email is allowed, okay? You don't physically have to go and pick up the records anywhere unless your kids are full blown in school. No COVID hiccup at all, okay? Because other than that, you're going into the school system, you're sitting down and you're going through what, years of records? No, you're not doing that. So when they do that, you need to, if you need this PowerPoint, message me. I will post it for you. Actually, I'll put it in the group in the docs, okay? And then I say, see page 27 through 31. I even will send a picture, a screenshot of a conversation I had with a guy named Bernie, and I have his last name written on there as well. And he's from FERPA, so I literally have a screenshot. I wrote his name in and his phone number, and I'll send it to the schools and say, you know what, he said to call him if you have any issues. Because in FERPA, there's contingencies, okay? So typically, yes, you have to physically go in, and don't let the school system say you can't have copies. You can take your own copies. You can make your own copies, okay? So will they charge you possibly 10 to 15 cents? Maybe, but you can take pictures of your records and you can show them what you're taking pictures of. They're your child's records. There is nothing in FERPA that says you cannot take a picture, a screenshot of your child's records. And that's, you know, aside from COVID. Now, again, if a school system is going to be nice and work with you, which they should, then they should be able to email it to you, okay? But right now, okay, it should always be emailed to you. Now, the school system has said, oh, it's too large of a file. We're going to mail it to you. Bullshit. I'll tell you how many files I have. Huge, huge files. All you do is separate it. Send the PWNs together. Send the IEPs together. Shoot, send 2 years of IEPs together and then 2 years of IEPs together. Whatever, I usually just go back 3 years. But then you send the progress reports together. You don't send one big file. Come on, guys. All right, so you got to break it down for them because they play dumb. Then, all right, then you need to make sure that that is adhered to, okay? So that's what I do. That's pet peeve number 1, all right? Pet peeve number 2, lawyers are all around right now, okay? So if you're going to throw a stink, they may not bring a lawyer in with you, but if you hire an advocate, shoot, if you hire me, the lawyers are going to come out of the woodwork, okay? And the reason for that is because if you think for 1 second that you're the only parent going after the school system right now for whatever it is, your child's not being provided FAPE because of online learning, it's not working for them, that doesn't mean that the teachers are doing a bad job. That means it's just not working for your child. That online learning it's probably not working for the teachers either. They probably hate it. But bottom line, we have to focus on our kids. And with this going on right now, it's very clear that for many, not all, students, it is not working. It's just not. Okay? Now, I've had a lot of parents say, you know what? It's working for this, that, and the other, but it's not working for some other things, like a lot of the academic areas that are just a struggle. Okay? So that's a frustration all in itself. Okay? The next thing that's really, really frustrating is the fact that school systems, sorry, that was my fax. Hold on. Okay. I don't know how to turn it off. Okay. Who knows? Who knows how to turn a fax off? Anybody? All right, I turned it off. All right. So the next thing that's really bothering me, oh, guess who is leaving my school district? The attorney. That's funny. One thing I will say about the attorneys, and I'll tell you this, is many of them do back down. All right. They kind of come after you, or me. They come after me. And then they back down after a hot minute because what they're doing is trying to chase me away and challenge me. And that's why I want you guys to learn everything that I know, because they've never chased me away. That's number one. But number two, the coolest thing about it is everything they come at me with, I come at them with something better, or I'm teaching them something in regards to the law. It's crazy that I'll have to take some screenshots of some conversations that I've forwarded, and then I have different colors underneath. I'll talk to some of my parents, see if they're okay with it, because typically I won't use students' names anyway. I usually just say the student. And so I'll share that with you because I know a lot of my parents would be totally cool with that. So I'll share with you some of the dialogue I've had. Don't leave your mouth wide open when you see this, okay? Because it does work. And then one thing I learn as I go sometimes, all right? And I learn people's personalities with this because you don't know who you're talking to on the other end. And I've realized a lot of times I've had to back off a tad, all right, once I come at them. And then we start working together. But they know from the get-go that I'm not playing. Does that make sense? But then as things go and you've challenged each other, then I back off. You know? It's kind of like how I used to teach my kids. I would be very strict in the beginning, and then I'd kind of back off and they knew the rules, you know? And so that has been interesting. Let's just say that to the very least. One thing that's frustrating me too, here's number 2, all right, is services, accommodations, and modifications are not being provided, and parents have said to me, well, you know, and this happened today, well, the IEP isn't really being followed, and the goals aren't really being followed, but this is what they're doing. And that was not okay, all right? And this was actually a client of mine. And so I had to say, and all my clients know this, that if they, and they're the boss, all right? They're my boss, so to speak, okay? And the thing is, though, is if there's not something that's working, my job is to let them know. Now, they get to make a decision, but at the same time, I'm going to say, okay, this is not okay, and this is why. So the goals not being followed, which was stated by one of my parents, and the accommodations and so forth not being followed and modifications, the services were. That is not providing FAPE. I understand that the kids are in a virtual setting with 4 or 5 other children, right? But if FAPE isn't being provided, all right, if their goals specifically are not being worked on, then what are they doing? Just because you're trying to put everything together into one? That's not going to work. That's not individualized at all. So things need to change in regards to virtual learning, and tweaking has got to take place, because if it's not working, meaning the schools, districts, teachers, etc., are not abiding by the IEP or providing FAPE, then that's a big, big problem. That is not saying I don't understand where the teachers are coming from. What the hell else are they going to do, you know? Because it may not be in your IEP that your child gets direct learning. But it is in your child's IEP to have goals worked on and for them to make progress in lieu of their circumstance. Do you see the frustration here? Are you guys frustrated at this? Because if you don't have direct one-to-one learning, then you can't really just all of a sudden get that right this second, unless you go to an IEP meeting and we create a plan of action and, you know, we fight for that. But you're not going to get that right this second, and that's not what's happening. But we got to provide FAPE, but goals aren't being worked on. They're just doing worksheets, and the parents telling me what they're working on, and I'm just like, no, no, and no. This has got to happen like this. This is what has to be worked on. Those goals have to be worked on a daily basis. That is what the IEP is for. So when you're sitting by your kids, when you're helping your kids, or if you have somebody else doing that, you've got to make sure FAPE is being provided. Those goals have to be worked on every single day. every day. Not by an aide, not by a para, by the teacher. All right? And that's a frustration for me, is how are you teaching little Johnny over here if you have Sarah and Emily and Tracy also in that class who have totally different goals? Tell me where FAPE is being provided here. There is no generalistic type teaching. There is no, this isn't a general classroom. This isn't gen ed. Okay? So if your child is in a special education classroom, meaning they're not in a class with gen ed students, you know, a lot of students are typically in that class. A special ed classroom is usually a 1-to-5, 1-to-6 ratio, or should be. And if it isn't, then you need to question that. It should be like a 1-to-5 is what it should be for special ed. All right. So there should be 1 adult to every 5 children with special needs. And that's virtually as well. So with that said, that's my second pet peeve. All right. My third, and you know what, I want you to know what to do about that. That is, you put in writing that FAPE isn't being provided to your child. Goals are not being worked on. Why? I want to know why. You need to ask why. Ask for a specific reason why goals aren't being worked on and generalized teaching is happening. That doesn't mean they're not learning something from that generalized teaching. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that FAPE isn't being provided if their goals are not worked on. Okay? I understand that it's a lot easier to just generalize and teach the masses, but that's not what an IEP is about. Okay? Another frustration, okay, is when you're requesting IEP meetings, okay, you'll get messages back such as, and tell me if you guys have experienced this, you'll get messages back like, well, we can't do that time because XYZ teachers are teaching at that time. You guys get that? Well, here's the deal with that. I'm flexible. I understand that. However, it's not always going to work for you, and it's not always going to work for me. So it never can be where XYZ teachers are busy teaching, so we can't hold an IEP meeting during that time. Because XYZ teachers can be sick at any moment, and then what are you going to do? Same thing for an IEP. You get a substitute teacher and you do whatever it is you got to do. I don't care if the principal has to go in and teach or someone else has to go in and teach while that teacher's at the IEP meeting. That's the rules. All right? There is no law or provision that says that IEP meetings have to be after 3 o'clock. No, that's not the rule. They don't get to call those shots. Okay? And when you're given an IEP meeting, all right, and they're the ones, okay? I always approach the dates, all right? Then I'm a little flexible. I'll play ball with them a little bit and trying to figure out a date that is mutually agreeable. So it has to be mutually agreeable. You have to always agree on the time, the date, and the place, meaning Zoom, in person, whatever you want to do. At a hotel versus the school district, whatever. At the school, whatever you want to do, okay? All has to be agreed upon. And you want to make sure that it is agreed, that you get a meeting notice confirming what was agreed, the time, date, place, okay? You want to get a meeting notice that states who is going to be there. No, who is not the special ed teacher, the gen ed teacher, the PE teacher, the LEA and district representative. No, that's not who. Those are labels. Those are what people are. That's not who. You get me? Who is Miss Smith, the special education teacher, will be there. Okay? Raven Woods, the parent, will be there. Okay? That is who. So do not allow any more on your meeting notices for it to just state titles. That is not a who. That is a title. Isn't that like a thing? Person, place, or thing. So yes, all right. You need to be very picky about what is in your meeting notice, because that is something that the school can stick to if they really want to be sticklers, and it's what you are stuck with discussing at that meeting. So you want to make sure that it says, to discuss, edit, and create an appropriate, adequate IEP, to discuss reevaluations, to discuss IEEs, whatever it is that you're doing, it needs to be in that meeting notice. Okay? Leave nothing out. All right? I don't care if it says you're going to have lunch. You have to have everything in there. Okay? So that's a pet peeve because that's happening a lot. Another thing, all right? School systems will, if they know you know your stuff, then they'll come at me with, here's the agenda for the IEP meeting. We've talked about this before, right? So let me stop real quick. For anybody joining now, if you are new catching me live, post a 1 below. That's your first through third time catching me live. If you're an oldie but goodie, you guys know what to do. Post a 2 below. Okay, we want to get to know you. We want to say hello. And we hope that you feel very welcome. Right when I'm done here, literally here, right now, I'm hopping over to the group to do a 20 to 30 minute Q&A. So if you want to join us and you're not part of the group, which it's a private group, you want to put in the search section, Autism Mama Rocks IEP group, and it should pop up, and I will accept people as soon as I clock off here and get on there. But if you don't start going and getting invited now and going and doing all that, then I'm not going to see it the minute I get off. And when I go live, I don't get on my phone unless I'm showing you something. Okay? So it's important to understand that agendas are not based off law, okay? When a school system sends you an agenda, they'll blame it on wanting flow, all right? I like flow, all right? And that's why I like to teach parents to become the CEO of their IEP meeting, where they're knowledgeable, where they're confident to be that CEO. And what does a CEO do? They run something, right? An entity, a business, a meeting, etc. And typically they're really good at it. When they're not correct, when they make mistakes, they admit it. And they are take charge people and leaders. And their job is to get in there, to work as a team, and to get the job done. All right, for the benefit of something, whether that be for a profit of a retail business, whether that be just like Apple had its launch today. I'm so excited. So, it's whatever it is, it's for the profit of something. For you, it's for the profit and for the well-being and the individualized needs of your child. Okay, so you got to always look at it as a business meeting. Okay, your child is not a thing that is just discussed or thrown under the bus just because, or things not brought up in the IEP or limited in the IEP, and all these provisions put into this meeting. No, this is a human being. We're going to talk about whatever we talk about. So let me back up a second because I'm getting to my next pet peeve, and I'll get there in a second. All right. So let's talk about that agenda real quick. All right. Don't forget to share. I'm doing a 3-month combined 10 people win in November, where you will all win, all 10 people. I may even for Black Friday double it. Okay. And make it 20, maybe even 25. I don't know. Depends on how nice I feel. And you will win some good prizes in November for the Black Friday blast off, I'll call it. Okay. So make sure you share, and share. My assistant will go through everything, get everybody's name. I will pick them out of a hat. All right. So with that said, the agenda. All right, so a lot of times in the agenda, it'll say all the things that the school wants to talk about in IEP. Sometimes it's good things and what you want to talk about, and sometimes it's not. And sometimes it's the opposite. But sometimes it is, it is on point and good, but you never want to be held accountable to that. Okay? So here's the deal with that. I look at an agenda as a facilitated IEP meeting. Why? Because an agenda is run by somebody. And if I didn't write it, it's not run by me. So never agree to an agenda. I'm not going to talk, say, and do when you say I can. That will never happen in life with me ever anyway. But in an IEP meeting, no one's going to tell me what to talk about. No one's going to tell me how to say it or when to say it or what to say. And it's definitely not going to be ordered that, no, in the agenda it says, no. Not going to happen. Now, what I will say is, I understand an agenda and I understand that you would like things to flow. However, I don't agree with your agenda. It will not be followed. However, the flow will be as this. And then I say it's parent concerns first because I like to get that out on the table. All right. Then they'll try to push you off and not discuss that because they don't want to address it or they won't answer questions fully. So then we spend a shit ton of time on parents' concerns because they're going to answer those questions fully because that parent needs answers. All right? Then we move on to things like evaluations. I'm very picky about what evaluations I request based on talking with the parent and based on the data and the IEPs and progress reports and everything else that I've gone through. So it's pretty quickly acknowledged by not just the parent but myself as to what types of evaluations need to take place and why. And if the school system has already done evaluations, hypothetically say that those evaluations were not individualized or all the evaluations that should have been done were not, then I ask for IEEs, and addition to what they did, I want XYZ evaluations because they're more individualized to the student. All right, and sometimes that's a fight. So fighting for what evaluations you want can be a fight. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes school systems are like, okay, we understand that, and they'll do it. And then the IEE asking for above and beyond because theirs was not individualized and specific enough, then that is also at times a fight. All right. So that is a bit of a pet peeve. Okay. And remember, do not agree to the agenda. All right. You can understand where they're coming from, and I will validate that. I will say I understand the purpose of an agenda for things to flow, and I plan on things to flow. But it will be parents' concerns, evaluations, and we'll go through the IEP, and I'll explain my notes to you. However, because evaluations are needed, we're not going to change goals or anything until the evaluations are done. However, we do update services, accommodations, and modifications until those evaluations are done so that student can get the services, accommodations, and modifications that they need at that moment. Okay? So that's a pet peeve that they will do, and I don't want you guys to fall for that because typically a agenda is a facilitated IEP meeting, meaning run by somebody, and there's really not a lot of deviating from that, okay? And you don't want that limitation, all right? My next pet peeve, all right? And I'll post these in the group if you'd like, so make sure you join the group in the documents of pet peeves and what not to do. So the next thing is school systems will say what can or cannot be spoken about in an IEP. I have been in IEPs where schools have said, oh, well, we're not talking about that here. And I know you guys have heard me say this, right? What do you mean we're not talking about that here? This is an IEP meeting. We are talking about that here. All right. Because in my letter and email on such and such date, I explained to you this was a parent concern. So we are talking about that here in the IEP meeting. And, you know, what kills me with that is, and I said this the other day, and I crack my own self up with it because it's that stupid of them to say, we're not talking about that here. Okay, are we going out to lunch? Are we going to the movies? Are you going to text me? Like, where are we talking about this? In an IEP, guys. An IEP is to talk about anything pertaining to your child in the educational setting. And right now, virtually is the educational setting. Don't get that misconstrued. Just because your child is virtual does not mean where they are learning, where that computer is, laptop, whatever. That is the educational setting. Let's go back a second. You know that parent that I was telling you about that I had a conversation with today, and she totally got it. And she was like, man, I didn't even think about that, you know? And so I told her, I said, you just told me that FAPE wasn't being provided. What she told me was goals, her son's goals were not being implemented in the daily teaching virtually. And she sits by her son every day so that he can stay on task and, you know, not eat erasers and, you know, all the things that children with special needs can do. And it can be an issue. And so I said to her, I said, you know, here's the thing. I'm not a lawyer. I should be, but I'm not, and I have no time to go to school for that at all, or go apprentice with a lawyer for 3 years. Not happening. And bottom line, I'm not going to give you legal advice, but here's what I'm going to give you is what I'm telling parents to do. All right. And you have every right to do this in every state. One party, two party, all party. All right. You can record your child in your home. Nobody can tell you what to do in your home with your child. Okay? I cannot say that to you loud enough. Now, in two-party states and all-party states, it is required to ask to record. Or, actually, it's not even ask. In a lot of school systems, believe it or not, it doesn't say ask in two-party states. A lot of times, the school system's policy will state you have to let them know 7 days in advance. It doesn't say you have to ask. Look that up. So, unless you ask, which I don't suggest you do. So, unless you ask in a two-party or all-party state, you do not want to get the screen, the computer screen. All right? So don't get the computer screen if there's other students or a teacher, obviously online teaching. All right? But what I've said is record from the side. So you're getting your child and their actions and what they're doing, the side of the computer. So you're not getting anybody's picture. You're not getting anybody other than the sound. But the sound is coming out of your room in your house. All right? So record your child sideways. Record what they're doing, how they're acting, and don't interfere. All right? Let it be where they're acting up. Let it be where they're not paying attention. Let it be where they are paying attention. Let it be, and make sure you do different things. Speech, OT, reading, whatever it is that they're doing. Get different times, okay? And do it daily. So I want you to get a notebook and you're going to put, you know, October 13th, 2020 and what transpired. Okay. The same thing with tomorrow for the 14th, October 14th, 2020 and what transpired. Because by law, all right, and in accordance to OSEP at this time, your data is just as important as if your child was physically in school and data was provided, report data was provided to you from the school. Not crap, but report data, all right, that was taken over a period of time to show your child's knowledge, Okay. So you taking notes every single day, recording your child and what they're doing, is taking data and accurate data. Okay. For you to be able to support what's working and what's not. Okay. Remember, if you're in a two-party or a all-party state, do not get that computer screen. Okay. Do not get other kids' faces, anything. Okay. Or even the teachers.
Oh, on the line.
I am.
They have fun back after that, please.
We'll see.
It'll be good.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry for screaming.
All right.
I'm so sorry.
She's sorry for screaming.
I was distracted today.
You were
sorry about that.
Okay. All right. I'll think about it.
I'll talk to you tonight.
Okay. Sounds good. She cracks me up. All right. She got her phone taken away because she was screaming, and she got her phone taken away. So then she gets upset, and then she has a little meltdown, and then she says, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mom. I am so sorry. I will not do it again." I don't fall for it anymore, but it is cute. All right. So with that said, all right, I'm going to kind of cap it off there. But hey, Aaron. Wow. Long time no see. Sorry for your loss of your little boy. So with that said, guys, I'm going to be hopping over to the group. I'm going to be doing a Q&A live for about 20 minutes. So if you guys want to hop over there, if you're not members of the group, it's a private group, Autism Mama Rocks IEP group. Put that in the search bar. I'm going to get off here and I'm going to accept people who are over there and need accepting right now. So go do it right now, because if I go live, I'm not going to be accepting people. All right. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to accept you later and then you can watch it not live. But I just wanted to let you know, if you're not part of the group, do it right now. Right now. Okay. So I want you guys to know, and if you guys are posting questions, which I see you guys, we got Aaron and we got Lisa, hi, and Christina and Jessica and Kim and Cindy and Cynthia and Cosette and Karen and Crystal and Lucy and Lorena and Alan and gosh, everybody's on here today. And thank you guys so much for sharing. I promise it's going to be a big one in November. I promise. All right. For you guys being so patient and allowing me to heal, and understanding that, unfortunately, I have to go through surgery again on Friday. Not excited. I don't bounce back quick at all. At all. Look, I saw a bunch of people hop. They're going to, to the group. I hear it. So just don't fall for some of these things with what is being said across the board all the time. All right. And if you're not coming at them with some of the questions I have, or, you know, some of the ways in which I'm coming about approaching them, then you may not be getting these responses, but you want these responses because you want your child's full scholastic record. If you haven't had an evaluation in the last year, especially because of COVID, you need another evaluation. If you've had an evaluation and you don't agree with it, or even if you do agree with it, you want another evaluation. So you want to ask for an IEE. You want that second opinion. You must have it. It's, you know, I say it's like going to the doctor. You never want to accept something being told to you to such an important person, or if it was about cancer or heart disease or anything like that, you don't want to just take one person's opinion. That doesn't mean that they're not doing their job. It just means that you want someone else's opinion to weigh in to get ways in which you can, you know, measure what's going on. Is it biased? Is it not? Is it, you know, they're both on the same page? You know, are they not on the same page? And if not, why? You know, all these types of things go on. And you want to know that. The best thing that you can do for your child, what I didn't do for 6.5 years, you know, if you go back and listen to my story, you have to have knowledge. You have to know answers. You have to know where your child is presently. You have to know that baseline, because if you don't, you're never going to understand if they make progress. You may know that, oh, all of a sudden they did this, but you're not going to know how that came about. Or was it difficult? Was it not difficult? Is that even an appropriate goal? You know? it's just important to know as much as you can, because the more knowledge you have, the more you're going to be able to advocate, the better you're going to be able to advocate. And the knowledge is everything, okay, in reference to that. All right. So like I said, I'm going to hop over. So these were kind of some tips for you, pet peeves that I have, things that I've been going through. I always like to throw that out there because I know that if I'm going through something, that more than likely someone, even if it's one person, someone else is dealing with it too. And they're probably frustrated just like I am. And, you know, even though I know how to continue to go about it and continue to be persistent and continue to press forward, a lot of people give up. That doesn't mean that they are someone who just gives up. It's just that sometimes, you know, and I've been told by parents, I just don't know what to do. Or, you know, my stress level is just through the roof. I cannot deal with this anymore, even though they feel horrible because they feel like they're letting their child down. So don't feel that way, because that is going to work against you. One of the worst things, even though we love and cherish and care for our children, one of the worst things you can do is allow emotion to control you, or to allow fear to control you, because it will hinder you in this process. All right. So if you have a ton of emotion going on, if you have a lot of guilt going on, if you have a lot of fear that, you know, if I do this, then is my child going to be suffering? That is, all three of those things will hold you back, will not allow you to adequately and appropriately advocate for your child the way you should be. So you have to, on your own, I can't give you advice on how to do this because it's easier said than done, or easy, you know, try to eliminate as much emotion as you can. Or, as I said the other day, put on your face and go into that meeting as that person that is not who you normally are. And that doesn't mean be a totally different who. It just means you have to, it's hard to explain that. It doesn't mean go in and not be you, all right? It just means to go in and be a more, what would be the word? Targeted you, more aggressive you, more assertive. That's a really good word. More assertive you, and understanding and acknowledging and taking on the responsibility of, you're not going to back down no matter what, no matter how you feel, no matter how scared you are, no matter what, that you're not going to give up. Okay? So I'm going to hop over to the group. I hope I see you guys there. Have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you guys soon. I will definitely be live on Thursday here, and I'm going to try to come live tomorrow as well, even if it's just with a tip of the day tomorrow. So I'm going to hop over to the group, Autism on Rocks IEP group, put that in the search bar. I'm going to go and I'm going to accept people, and then I'm going to jump on there and just do a casual Q&A for a few minutes. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.